Welcome to Checkpoint. This is just a few hours to the by-election in Malindi and Kericho, and we're taking some analysis on that and why this is such a big deal. I have with me in studio Adams Oloo, Muluka and Danstan Omari. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us here tonight. The hashtag online is Checkpoint. That's at KTN Kenya, at Yvonne Okwara. You can also send us a text message 22155. Barak, I'd like to start with you. We've had by-elections in the country since March 2013. Why is this one such a high-stakes game? What's happened? What's been happening? What's changed from March 2013 to now?
I think traditionally the by-elections that we have had in this country have been questions that have involved the individual candidates who have been competing against one another, going all the way back to the one-party days, and then of course the multi-party days. We had by-elections which were seen as matters that should be resolved by the electorate making a decision about the various contestants. But the stakes are extremely high at this point, that when we look at Kericho, we see that there's a sense in which it's almost some kind of referendum about the performance, not just of the Jubilee, but the position of the Deputy President as the political supremo within the Rift Valley, and particularly the Kalenjin Rift Valley. That when we look at Malindi, it's a question of ODM and Jubilee trying to size each other up, and Jubilee has been making quite a bit of effort in Malindi and at the coast, and the time has come for them to try and find out whether this is going to reward them, or whether ODM is still as strong as it ever was.
Yeah, I mean, Dunstan, there's the feeling that there's big political players in this, besides the candidates. What's your theory about what's going on, who's pulling the strings, and why?
My take is one that the Kericho by-election is actually the question about whether William Ruto will be the deputy in 2017. Will he be the running mate for Uhuru Kenyatta? Because if he loses, then definitely he has to appear to be a running mate. Two, you also find that in Kericho there is no court. It's purely the Jubilee brothers fighting one another. It's an in-house issue, and the in-house issue has taken the question about the Kipsigis versus the Nandis. So the other side, we are seeing that there is an implosion between the big group that Moi crafted called the Kamatusa. Later we call it the Kalenjin and URP wing. So it is imploding, led by Gideon Moi and also Isaac Ruto. Also, when you look at it, you are looking at the coming to birth, the coming to life of the dynasty of the retired president Moi, because you see his son has come out very, very, very strongly, and that tells you that this is not as simple as it is. Lastly, you're also seeing out for the first time the trade unions, the teachers' union coming out very strongly and saying that we are supporting Sang. So when you look at the Kericho issue, you get a feeling that really it is going to be a bloody and dangerous campaign, and the results will, some people's careers will terminate, others will revive, and 2017, who knows? If Isaac Ruto and Gideon Moi succeeds, they might be the people that Uhuru will look for to give them the votes in Rift Valley. While when you look at the coast, you tend to see that Uhuru Kenyatta camped there. He moved State House, he moved the whole of government machinery for almost a month. And the moment he appeared in Malindi once, he's never even bothered to go to these elections. Did he see something that William Ruto didn't see? Uhuru has completely kept off from Kericho and from Malindi. And
we will talk about that in just a moment, the role of President Uhuru Kenyatta in this one. But Adams, Kanu is resurging, isn't it? From that losing defeat in 2003.
Well, people are saying that the cock is crowing once more. That is debatable, whether it's really the cock that is crowing once more, or is it that the cock has a good candidate? In the sense that those who look at Paul Sang and go back to how he first entered into parliament, he campaigned on a bicycle as a simple teacher, and when people asked him, give us something, he would say, just vote for me for nothing. And that's how he got the nickname Chembuch. So at times it's usually hard to differentiate whether it's the party that has been revived or is it that that party has a good candidate. But time will tell over that. But one thing which is for sure is that the URP wing of the coalition has not been able to deal with the rise of Paul Sang and Kanu, in the sense that if you look at the way the DP reacted initially, he tried to blame the Moi family and he tried to involve Daniel Arap Moi. Then somebody must have advised him, don't go that route, it will not help you. Then he changed tack quickly, and as of yesterday they were blaming CORD, which has not even fielded a candidate. So you can clearly see that he doesn't know how to handle this internal rebellion, so to speak.
Okay, and this internal rebellion that we're talking about, Barack, when you take a look at, what's happening within, Kericho and with URP and with TNA, and like Danstan says, the president hasn't made such an appearance, and it almost seems like Deputy President Ruto is fighting for his survival. He's camped there. He spent a lot of time both there and in Malindi as well. But this looks like this is his reputation on the line.
Yeah, first I think I want to be bold enough that the cock is crowing,
okay.
Unlike a professor here who is doubting. I also want to differ slightly from with Danstan here when he says it's Nandi against Kipsigis. It isn't. We have seen members of parliament from Nandi coming down to the south to campaign for the Kanu candidate, and we have seen that even Gideon Moi himself would be Tugen in that particular context. I think the truth of the matter is that the deputy president has got a plate full of problems, a plate full of challenges, that once he got to power, he seems to have separated himself from the constituency. He seems to have been ruled and dominated by some kind of excessive confidence. If you want, you could even call it hubris. Overtook him. He has had some members of parliament, of course, around him, usually of the extraction that you would even call sycophantic, and there are people who have made him to lose touch with the reality on the ground. If you look at his attitude, it's a domineering attitude. It's an attitude of confrontation, and it's been an attitude that makes him forget that the community has got other grandees, it has got other elders, and that from time to time he needs to listen to them, to talk to them, to seek guidance from them. And when you place yourself at the top of people in that kind of domineering manner, and you're not delivering on the promises that you have made, you're going to run into trouble.
Okay, but he did, get a reward, and this is in the appointment of the senator, of former senator now of Kericho, Charles Keter, to the cabinet. And so, this is a win-win. Shouldn't be happy? Shouldn't the people of Kericho County be happy? Why are they still so unhappy?
My take is this. Is it really that the president wanted to appoint Keter and Kazungu to cabinet secretaries? And if indeed the president had a mind of appointing these people, was he appointing them so that he creates a competition platform so that his deputy gets his Waterloo? Because Keter and...
so you're placing this squarely on the president?
I tend to see his hand. Yeah? I tend to see his hand around it, because really there was no reason to appoint Keter a cabinet secretary. There was no reason to appoint Kazungu a cabinet secretary. There were other URP luminaries. There were other very strong people he could have appointed. The reason as to why I'm thinking that the deputy president must have insisted that if it's not Keter, then nobody else. When the president gave in and said, okay, if it's Keter, take the Keter. The Keter factor is a reason, and I believe very strongly, that will bring William down. Reason being that Keter's senatorial by-election that is now there has put the deputy president in a very awkward position that he cannot believe it.
All right, Adams, do you agree with that?
Not necessarily. You see, this is a coalition government, and even though at times the two coalition partners, in this case the president and deputy president, usually talk of this is one government. It is two governments in one, in the sense that when they divide 50-50, it means that the head of URP chooses whoever he wants to be part of the cabinet on his side. And I think that there is no doubt that Charles Keter has always wanted to be a cabinet secretary. There's also no doubt that amongst the positions held by URP, apart from the treasury, the next lucrative one is the director. And therefore, when Chirchir was made to leave, William Ruto was going to give it to somebody whom he trusts, and that was Charles Keter. What he did not anticipate was that his creating a by-election would prove to be his Waterloo. Because, take it from me, whether Paul Sang wins tomorrow or not, I can assure you the number of votes he's going to get is going to have a demonstration effect that the deputy president doesn't have control of his backyard. And I think what Barack said earlier is important. This is a politician who has lived all his political life in leading rebellions. And he's very good at leading rebellions, but he's not good at leading from the front. When he's now on the top, he doesn't know how to rebel.
Okay, interesting. Let's talk about Malindi for just a moment. The president pitched camp at the coast just recently. We know of title deeds that have been given at the coast, and Jubilee has taken the coastal area very seriously, despite the fact that it is a CORD stronghold. Is there a chance that ODM could lose this election tomorrow?
Yeah, we have got to juxtapose the two, Yvonne.
Yeah.
I think you asked earlier on why the president had not appeared in Kericho, and I think there are many factors. One of them could be that perhaps this would be now taking on the Moi family frontally, and you know that former President Moi was really his mentor and the person who brought him into the political space, and perhaps he did not see the need
so he doesn't want to sort of cause
so
chills in that relationship?
Let William Ruto sort that out.
Is it throwing William Ruto to the wolves in a sense?
Or the other? I don't think that he would deliberately throw him into the deep full of sharks because there's a very significant sense in which he would still need those votes, and if there is anything like testing the waters there, I think the appointment of Charles Keter to the cabinet was perhaps William Ruto's biggest political blunder, because he cannot contain it. If you take that now to Malindi, you can see that this is contestation which has been imposed upon CORD. They were perhaps extremely comfortable because that was their zone, and suddenly they are being made to be placed on the weighing scales to see whether they are going to retain that constituency or not. Perhaps this is something that the Jubilee fraternity would have wanted to try also elsewhere, where perhaps they would have been seen to be raiding CORD like they did in Kajiado. But there's a sense in which, to answer your question more, CORD would also be at a certain risk. First, the nomination process was flawed, and we remember that there was a hue and cry. That one Jubilee handled rather well. They did it through dialogue and consensus, and of course they have got the goodies which they were able to give to the other people who would have been in the race. CORD does not have that. Now the question about CORD is whether they have been able to arrange an infrastructure that will see them convert the big numbers that we have been seeing at their rallies into voters.